Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Kaiomi. I'm known across platforms as Kaiomi and this is going to be my first book related YouTube video. So this video is going to be, as the title says, Booktube newbie tag but with a Caribbean twist. By Caribbean twist, I just mean I'm gonna add a few Caribbean oriented questions. The first question is, why did you start this channel? This specific channel I've already had for like a long time, and I've had like ebbs and flows of I want to create content, I want to do vlogs, travel, lifestyle. However, I've never been super consistent or inspired. I've gotten, a little bit more into the book community, especially on Bookstagram, and I feel like, I have things to say, I have things to talk about. I have opinions, too many of them, but the biggest reason I started this channel is because I feel like I can add my voice to the Booktube community, which is overwhelmingly white, Western, American, European, etc. As an Afro-Caribbean woman, I think that there is a lack of representation of Caribbean people in general in across every kind of sphere, but specifically the Booktube community. Obviously there are Caribbean booktubers, Caribbean bookstagrammers, however, not enough for my liking. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? So, apart from being myself, well, the first thing is my background. I mentioned that I'm Afro-Caribbean. I was born in Trinidad and Tobago, and I was raised in Barbados. I spent most of my life between the two countries equally. I consider myself a Trinidadian, and you can probably hear from my accent that it kind of is a mixture of both of those countries. Being from two countries, having a background in English, anyway, so I love English my entire life, so I'm also coming from that background of loving storytelling, loving writing. And I also have plans to do videos like cocktails inspired by the last books I've read and things like that. I love to cook. I can incorporate cooking into my videos. So I just think that I have something to bring. What are you most excited for about this new channel? I am super excited to connect with other Caribbean booktubers, bookstagrammers, have a space where I can really explore my hobby, my love of reading. And honestly, sometimes I'm reading a book and I'm like, I want to talk somebody's head off. And I don't know how many times I could talk off my partner's head or my friend's head. So, I'm giving it to y'all. It's out there. It's going to be out there in the world. I'm excited especially to promote more Caribbean work, Caribbean writers that you don't see in Booktube or being promoted a lot, especially older books. I want to take this a little bit back. I want to go back, not to classics, but I want to go back. Why do you love reading? Okay, so I love reading for so many different reasons, but the biggest one is the ability to be transported into a different country, a different world, entire new life. That is what I love so much about reading. I feel like reading helps illustrate things that you would not have known. And I just love feeling like I'm escaping my current life, especially in the pandemic. I love escaping the current reality. I love being involved in another story. And the other reason I really love reading is because, I've never actually given much thought to this question, but I just love characters and I love storytelling. And because I love storytelling, I love to obviously read stories. What book or series got you into reading? So first of all, I've been reading since I was 3 years old, fresh out the womb. But when I was a child, the series that really kicked off my reading beyond little storybooks was a series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. Someone bought me that for my birthday once, the whole set, and I devoured them. And beyond that, as a teenager, what really got me into reading again and again and being at the bookstore every week was Twilight series. And then the Twilight series, I kind of moved on into anything vampire, anything fairy, anything fantasy. So if there was a vampire book, angel book, some kind of supernatural creature book, it was on my shelf. What was the first Caribbean book that you remember reading? The first Caribbean book I remember reading, I don't know if this is the name of the book. I remember the characters, and it was in Trinidad in preschool, and it was Boyo and Kala. It was like the adventures of Boyo and Kala or something, set in a local Trinidadian context, and like Boyo and Kala were brother and sister, and they did all these adventures on the beach. Yeah. What challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So for me, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm not gonna hold y'all, it's gonna be consistency. I have a lot of struggles with social media and being consistent, because like for me it's a hobby, and like you should be consistent with your hobbies of course, but I feel like with social media there's just like push for relevancy and to be like constantly posting, constantly online, constantly interacting. I just don't have the mental capacity to do that. Like I have a full-time job and I have a dog, full stop. Like I have a full-time job, I have a dog. That's gonna be a challenge, especially when thinking like when I'm gonna film, like the noise that my dog is gonna make in the background, like working from home, like all these different things are gonna be challenges. But I think consistency is going to be my biggest challenge, because I like to limit my time I spend on social media, but I find with these kinds of things you're like expected to be online and responsive, and like I'm not that person. But with that said, I'm going to try to put myself on some kind of schedule, but not too rigid, because I want to feel inspired before I post something. I don't want to just be like, have to do this video because I have to do this video, you know? Alright. When did you start reading? Like I said, I started reading from the time I exited the womb. Literally, not joking. My parents read to me, and they bought me books all the time, like all the time. I was that child, like you know how like children go to the mall and their parents like try to like find sneaky ways to not pass the toy store? For me it was like, my parents were like, how can we avoid bookstore? And in Trinidad there's two bookstores, Nigel Arcan and RIK, and I would have to go into both. I was like, Mom, I have to cross-reference the different book selections that they have. Where do you read? All the corners of this house. I read in bed, I read on the couch. Before the pandemic, I read on the public transit. I read like before class started, sometimes even in class. I have a Kindle, so I've been taking my Kindle with me in case like I get stuck in a line somewhere, which is very, very possible these days. What kinds of books do you like to read? Love contemporary fiction, literary fiction, especially by Black women, women of color, Caribbean authors. I honestly can't tell you the last time I really read a fiction book by a man. I mean, I do, but like it's not something that I actively seek out. I love young adult books as well. Something about them really warms my heart. It speaks to my inner child. I actually didn't read like young adult contemporary lit as a young adult. I read more, as I said before, fantasy, so like it's been cool to see what I was missing out on. I love to read non-fiction, especially things that relate to class, gender, race, urban stuff, because I did my master's in urban planning, so I'm very interested. And I've actually become really interested in dystopian novels, so I would love recommendations for more dystopian novels. What is a Caribbean book that you think everyone should read? I feel like everybody should read A Small Place by Jamaica Kincaid. If you travel, if you leave your city, if you leave your neighborhood, you should read that book. In A Small Place, Kincaid really critiques tourism industry in Antigua, where she's from, and she really kind of highlights how the Caribbean has been gripped by tourism. And I'm very vocal about my critiques on tourism. I get bashed for it all the time. Jamaica Kincaid got like bashed by Antigans when she first published that book. Anytime I critique tourism, people are in my mentions like bashing me. I don't even want to get into it. It's crucial. What is the next Caribbean book that you hope to read? So I have two Caribbean books that I hope to read. At the Bottom of the River by Jamaica Kincaid, and The Wretched of the Earth by Fanon. I believe Fanon is from Martinique. And lastly, what is the book that you are currently reading? I am currently reading like 10 books, but the one I'm more actively reading is The Secret Life of Church Ladies by Deesha Philyaw. Loving this, absolutely loving this. It's currently a buddy read with someone from Bookstagram, and as you can see I have all these tags on it, so it's been going swell. Okay, that wraps up my newbie book tag challenge. I'm really excited to make more book related videos. I hope you all are joining me on this journey. Please feel free to subscribe, like this video, follow me on Instagram for more updates, and I hope to see you soon on my next video. Until then, stay blessed and stay irie. Bye bye!